Okay, y'all. Professor Wright here. Learn, grow, teach. You know what I'm here for. Hey, so I woke up this morning and read the article about a couple of articles about Trump and GM, General Motors, and how they're about to lay off a substantial number of employees, and Trump is trying to position himself as the non-bad guy for making this happen, which economically he may or may not be. Politically, people have their opinions about that. But I want to talk about the economics of it all. You guys know what I do, so I don't have to go into that. But let's think about this here. Remember, I'm saying adversarial and antagonistic all the time. Just kind of like keep that in your pocket, just for your money's sake. Keep that in your pocket, okay? So when you're studying finance or economics, you learn something called the law of supply and demand. Many of you know this law of supply and demand, right? The lower the supply, the greater demand, the price goes up, and all these little chart and S and D and quantity and dollar sign, right? I'll see if I can put one into the video if I have that much capacity to do so. But basically, the law of supply and demand. So when I was working on my bachelor's in finance years ago, they were teaching this, and I was like, that just doesn't sit right. That's not right at all. And so the thing that I came up with, because I challenged it in class, I challenged it. The way this law of supply and demand works is basically this. They say that the more the supply and the greater the demand, the higher the price. Or the lower the supply. Whenever the demand is high, the price goes up. That's basically what it is, okay? But I've been in the financial world for many years, and I've tried to figure out what makes this different, what makes this untrue, because it just doesn't feel right. It feels very manipulative. And when I started studying the history of commerce, like I said before, commerce in America, there's one thing that happened. When the merchants started building stuff, right about the Industrial Revolution here in America, they started building all these, one of the things that was in the book that I read were dresses, okay, women's dresses. And they had those nice, full, long dresses. And so the plant started making these dresses by the hundreds. But the women wouldn't buy them. They didn't trust them. They would only buy the ones or use the ones, wear the ones basically, that were made in their communities by the people who've always made them. So they're not going to leave their community, run into town, go to Sears and buy this dress made by somebody they didn't know. They're going to go around the block and have Aunt Jenny, who always made the dresses, or Grandma, who always made the dresses. They're going to use that dress. So basically that's where the Sears catalog came in from. They started marketing and saying, hey, this dress is better than Aunt Jenny's because it has this, and we've done this to it. And so that started the marketing, and then the people would buy that dress and go back home and tout their dress as better than Aunt Jenny's. You see, that's basically how this worked. This is marketing 101 in the early 1900s, late 1800s. Okay, that's the way this was working. And so you had something that no one else in the community had because it was store-bought from Sears or Kresge, SS Kresge, and all the Montgomery Ward. And you had all of these items over here when everybody else had these stuff. So you were a little bit more of status and of means. You see, and that's how this worked. And I can tell you about John B. Watson, which I will tell you about, is basically that he was a psychologist. And I'm telling you this for a reason, because I'm going into supply and demand. Okay, so don't think I'm just gibbering on, because I'm not. I'm giving you some background to it. John B. Watson was a psychologist, and he studied behaviorism. He's the founder of behaviorism. Look at his book. If I had it on my desk, I'd show it to you. But I do have his book. Basically, it's behaviorism. And behaviorism is designed to control and manipulate human behavior. That's what it's for. Now, basically what happened, he had a adulterous affair with his assistant, and the whole academic field shunned him, kicked him out. And he basically became a marketer for the radio stations back in the late 20s, early 1930s. Okay, and he began selling like cigarettes and I think it was like crackers and toothpaste and cereal and oatmeal and things like that on the radio. So he had designed all these advertisements and their sales shot up. And he was one of the first millionaires ever in marketing. Matter of fact, he was the first millionaire ever in marketing, but he was one of the early millionaires that wasn't one of the John Paul Gettys and Morgans back in the early 1900s. Okay, so basically that's why there's such a field called marketing today, because it's always designed to manipulate you and pull you into doing something that left to your own devices you wouldn't do. And that's where the law of supply and demand is artificial. Think about it like this. Everybody in America now has $1 million. Everybody. $1 million cash after tax. Everybody has it. You and 10 of your friends have auto dealers. BMW, Lexus, Audi, Maserati, Ford, Chevy, Honda, Hyundai, Volvo, and Volkswagen. What do you do to the price of your cars? Everybody has $1 million. What do you do to the price of your cars? If you said raise them, then you're really following along the law of supply and demand. But if you said drop them, then you're a little bit more authentic, because the supply isn't the car. The supply in the law of supply and demand is always packaged as the product or the service. No. The supply is the money. The customer's money is the supply. So you and all your friends, y'all would begin to drop the prices on these cars to the point that you would still be profitable, but you would drop the price of those cars. Why? Because you want that money, and that money is in short supply. It is limited. So basically what's happening with with GM and Trump is that GM is saying, hey, we're making all these cars, and no matter what our marketing is doing, they're not selling sufficiently. And the reason why they're not selling sufficiently is because the money isn't there. People don't have the supply of money. Like I said in the other video, low wages, increased inflation, increased cost. They don't have the money to go buy an $80,000 Silverado. They don't have money to buy a $32,000 Volt. They don't have that money. So they just keep on buying used cars and buying warranties and hope that's what happens. No matter how good your car is, we don't have the money to do it. It's not there. So now the dealers are cutting out the plants, cutting out the manufacturing, reducing the labor, because the labor is the most expensive thing, they claim. But the one thing about the GM labor is that they're not cutting the people at the plant. They're cutting the plants, they're cutting the people at the plant. Yes, they are. However, they're cutting that middle management, because those people cost more than the people at the bottom. So they're cutting those people out too, which is very interesting. So I'm talking about the law of supply and demand, and I want you to really think about it and practice it for yourself and understand that the things that you spend your money on, how much of them are really in need and how many of them are really affordable. How many times do you see somebody driving a hoopty and they got, some Gucci's and, 3, 4, 5 Coach purses? But you're driving a hoopty. Which is more important? Which one is actually the return on investment for you? If you got a good car that's reliable, you could probably go out and get more jobs and work longer and have more confidence in where you're going and how you get there, instead of just trying to package yourself as something that you really may or may not be with your attire and your accessories. So my point is, if you see someone do that, then it's more than likely that they fell victim to the marketing that told them that this will make you better than Becky. This will make you better than Susie. This will make you better than Tommy. This will make you better than Darnell. Would it really? You see? Just stick to what you do within you. Do not fall victim to the manipulation and the marketing that is out there that's trying to take your money from you. That's all it's doing. Antagonistic, adversarial. That's all it's doing. Taking your money from you. So if you're looking at the Trump instance and the GM instance, what is it really all about? It's really all about people not having no doggone money. That's what it's about. He can say what he wants to say. He can respond how he wants to respond. But the truth is that GM cannot sell the cars that they're making. They're just making cars. The smart business way to operate, this is just me, the smart business way to operate is to produce enough that is in expectation of the amount to be sold. That's what has to happen. And maybe they did do that. Maybe they did. I don't know. Maybe they did. But think about it. You just can't keep on making cars and then say, well, we're going to sell them. No. Make your fixed amount of Explorers, your fixed amount of Expeditions, your fixed amount of Tauruses, and then everybody go home. Go home for 3 months and wait for these to sell. Everybody design some new ones. Next season, boom, there you go. Do it again. Think about how much better the country would be if you didn't have people just out there doing rote mechanical work all the time. All the time. For what? We could have a much better, more fulfilled, more at peace society if basically people worked according to what was necessary and then just chilled out. How many cars we making this year? 180,000. Okay. Boom. There you go. We made 180,000 before September. We're paid. We're done. We'll wait to start again next year. That's just my opinion. Okay? But when you keep churning stuff out, you have this inventory and this backlog, and you hoping that it sells, hey, that's on you. You could have just only made a fixed amount, and then what you would do is basically reduce the supply of the goods, and hopefully the demand of the good would go up, and that would be authentically, well, it will still be kind of manipulated, but it wouldn't be driven by marketing. It will be driven by sheer numbers. Okay? But I'm just saying, Trump, GM, it all has to do with the people and their inability to fund new cars because they don't have any money, because there are no wages that are matching to their needs. So, Professor Wright, just trying to share something with you. Looking forward to seeing with you. Subscribe, like the comment, like the video, make some comments. Check out my book, Biblical Principles to Prosperity, on Amazon. Buy it. I reduced the price on it. So, looking forward to seeing you again. Be, know, do more. Take care.